evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the provisional wing of Children in Need. We hope to raise lots of extra money tonight for disadvantaged children, and we have 4 enormously overgrown examples here tonight. The irascible young Rich Hall. The cheeky chappy Phil Jupitus. Naughty scamp Jonathan Ross. And everybody's favourite fluffy stud muffin, Pudsey. Now, settle down, class. You know the rules. Phil goes...
No, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but yeah.
And
No,
Jonathan...
but yeah, but no, but
Thank
yeah,
you.
but yeah.
Stop it. Jonathan goes...
I'm above Ed.
And Rich goes...
Flop-a-dob-a-dob-a-dob.
And Pudsey goes... Thank you, Pudsey. Oh, hello.
Hello. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, don't give it all that. You're not even a bear. Come on. We don't want any trouble. You gave me a look then with a good eye.
Yeah. How's your distance vision?
Someone has been sitting in my seat.
Tonight's programme is all about descendants. In other words, offspring, progeny, children. Let's begin at the very beginning. What do babies have that adults do not?
I'm above Ed.
Horns.
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 Oddly enough, almost close.
They have a cranial cap. They have a divot there that you can store things in.
I thought that was there so that if you have sex during the final trimester, it doesn't hurt the baby, it kind of gives.
Oh, no, Jonathan.
Nature provides. But the bones in the head haven't fused together yet, have they?
They haven't. Not only in the head, that's the point.
They're completely spongy babies. You can bend them pretty much like plasticine. You can just like make... If it's an ugly baby, you can just make it slightly better looking, you know, just give it horns if you want.
What's the protocol for when you see a really ugly baby? Do you
I'll
know?
tell you, people show you their babies on their phone now, and it's like a cashew with some hair coming out of it. The thing to say is, nice phone. That's what I think. I think babies have the ability to know that they are ugly, which their parents don't.
That's why they cry all the time. Yeah. They hold the little mirror up to them on the mobile. They go, oh, look at me! I look like Churchill having a shit. It's like...
They don't have kneecaps, do they?
Aren't you mixing them up with mer babies?
No. Their kneecaps are not made of bone while they're babies, and there are all kinds of parts of them...
What are they made of?
They're not made of bone, but are made of cartilage.
Or Play-Doh?
And they have 94 more bones than adults.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
You're making this up?
No, no. A baby's body has about 300 what are called soft bones that haven't actually formed bone material. They are actually cartilage, a sort of soft, gooey thing. And they eventually fuse to form the 206 bones of the average human body. Where are a quarter of those bones housed?
I'm above Ed.
Oh, yeah.
In the body?
Yeah. Where, I should have said, about.
In
the body.
the...
Foot.
In the...
Feet, the feet is the right answer. Yeah, a quarter of your bones. 52. Very good. Yeah. Very good.
How long do you have to wait for your baby to harden?
It's in the natural course of
You
things.
put it somewhere like with Airfix kits. I used to put them in the airing cupboard.
Kill.
Bake it.
You fire the baby!
So, talking of Churchill in a sort of way, who was very fond of pigs, because he said, dogs look up at you, cats look down on you, but a pig looks you in the eye and treats you as an equal. Anyway, who grunts like a pig and has children 3 times their own size?
And
Three
do
times.
they shrink down?
Yeah. The offspring start off 3 times bigger and then obviously become the size of the parents, so the offspring do shrink eventually.
Presumably, though, they must grow to full term outside of the body of the parent, or
They
else the
do.
parent could not carry
So,
such
right, they're
large
not
weight.
mammals.
Well, I
Not fish, neither.
Frogs.
Yes. It's a breed of frog called the paradoxical frog. For that very reason, it is the only species on Earth. And that literally is to scale. That's the parent, that's a pen, to give us an idea of scale, and that is the offspring.
So they squirt them out and then they grow big in the pond? And then
They come from South America and Trinidad as well, you'll find them.
What purpose does that serve in nature, that the animal would create an offspring that is so much larger than itself initially and then shrink?
We just don't know.
What is it in Spanish? Paradoxical frog.
Now, what I want you to do is stop me when you know about whom I am talking. Had she been eligible, she might have been elected US president. She's a trained scientist. She has larger breasts than you might imagine. Jonathan's alert. Her maiden name, Roberts.
Thatcher.
Oh, dear. Margaret Thatcher's maiden name was Roberts, but this particular née Roberts has over 1 billion pairs of shoes and yet stands only 11 inches tall.
I'm above Ed.
Thumbelina.
Not Thumbelina. This one exists.
11 inches tall?
Yeah.
Barbie.
Barbie is the right answer. Yay. She was named after one Barbara Millicent Roberts from Willows, Wisconsin.
If Barbie was a real person,
Yeah.
she wouldn't be able to stand.
Yes.
Anatomically.
Yeah, exactly.
Her feet are too small.
If you sort of blew her up to 5'6", her feet would be size 3, her breasts would be 39 inches, and she would just
But
go...
you wouldn't let her stand up anyway, would you? You'd only want her supine anyway, wouldn't you, if she had those kind of things?
Is that right? It's also apparently true, according to researchers at University Central Hospital in Helsinki, Finland, that her body shape lacks this 17 to 22% body fat, which would enable her to menstruate. But what was it she managed finally to get in the year 2000?
Pregnant.
It was a piece of something that...
The Shroud of
bra.
Turin.
Not a bra, some part of her body. Not nipples, thank you.
A navel.
A navel is the right answer. She finally got a tummy button. Very good. Absolutely right. Barbie philosophy. Barbie spoke in 1992 for the first time. Do you know the kind of thing she said?
Where's my navel?
You could have said that.
No
Will
means
we-
no.
Will
Stop looking down there, I don't have bits.
Will we ever have enough clothes? Was one of the first.
It's a
things.
paradoxical frog, Ken.
I love shopping.
Do you? But what did Barbie say, Stephen?
Math is tough. As we know, Barbie, whose full name was Barbara Millicent Roberts, was born in 1959. She's done everything, including running for president 3 times. But how have Superman, Spider-Man, and Wonder Woman helped the fight against crime? Each one of them has an intimate connection with a genuinely groundbreaking crime-solving or crime-helping...
X-ray vision.
When I say
Invisible
genuine,
planes.
obviously, yeah, something that exists.
Superman led police to develop bulletproof vests.
It isn't that, but you're on exactly the right lines.
No, because I know coppers have got like a net they shoot at you, like
That
Spider-Man.
would be Spider-Man's thing, wouldn't
Yes,
it?
but that's an old Roman retinarius trick. Who was Spider-Man's arch-enemy, mostly?
Mostly it was the Green Goblin.
There was another one called Kingpin?
Kingpin, well, he's not... Well, he was Spidey's, but recently he's become Daredevil's main foe.
Has he?
He lives in Hell's Kitchen. It's over more like 49th Street. Daredevil fights him a lot more. But recently...
And what did he do in 1979 in order to keep tabs on Spider-Man? So that he always knew where Spidey was?
Asbo.
Not an Asbo. But you're exactly... You're exactly on the right lines.
I hope
And it's
you're not
more
taking-
technical.
What, did he put something on him that
Yes.
you can trace? Some sort of
An electronic tagging
Electronic
bracelet
tagging device.
in
Oh,
I didn't
1979.
realise that came from
And a judge, rather splendidly named Judge Jack Love of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Judge Love.
Judge Love, exactly.
I stand before you, Judge Love.
You are in the court of love. Yeah, anyway. He did exist.
Thanks, Judge Love. I got a present for you, Judge Love.
And Judge Love, like many a judge, had an incredibly full series of cells. And he reasoned, having seen this cartoon, why not develop a real thing like this? So instead of prisoners going into prison, they can be electronically tagged. And he was the inventor of the electronic tag. But it was directly from a Spider-Man comic. You can say I'm really cool, as I believe young people say, because I have a really wicked bracelet in it guy. So there you are.
The stealth bomber, the invisible plane. Wonder Woman had an invisible plane.
Can I tell you about Wonder Woman? Wonder Woman's creator was William Moulton Marston, who wrote under the pen name of Charles Moulton, who is in a polygamous and indeed polyamorous relationship with the woman who co-created Wonder Woman and another leser on the side.
Absolutely right. Yep. And you're right, he married his wife Elizabeth at 22 years of age and then carried on this affair with Olive.
And I think they moved in together,
They all moved in together. He had 2 children by each. And then when he died, Olive and Elizabeth stayed together right up until the death of Olive in the 80s.
I think that's a rather beautiful story.
It is a lovely story.
I'll tell you something interesting about Spider-Man. Originally, he was called Spider-Man. He was Jewish. He couldn't fight crime on the Sabbath.
Look, I'm so impressed with Jonathan knowing the full name of William Moulton Marston, but he came to the attention of DC Comics, to the great Max Gaines,
Yes.
whom you will know of, the publisher of DC Comics.
Actually, Max Gaines, I believe, published DC Comics, didn't he? And then when he died in a boating accident, his son William C. Gaines took over, moving from true tales from the Bible and stories to amuse children into the EC line of horror comics that then came to the attention of the US Senate when comics were investigated after a certain Dr. Frederick Wertham brought out a book called Seduction of the Innocent in 1954, calling for the introduction of a self-regulating body known as the Comic Code Authority that had such ridiculous rules as you could not use the word flick in a comic for fear that the L and the I would run together and Spider-Man was saying, look, he's got a knife.
Fabulous. This is true. I love that. That is brilliant. And to think that almost everyone I know thinks you're a coarse, vain, loudmouth nobody. But we still haven't come to the root of
Bulletproof wristband, she
Marston.
had.
No, he invented something as a psychology professor. He was very interested in people's response under stress.
Under stress.
And he discovered that blood pressure increased when people were under
Was it the
certain
lie
drugs.
detector?
The lie detector. Was it? So there you are. We have the lie detector and we have the electronic tagging system. So that only leaves us with Superman himself. What was the most popular effusion of Superman, if you like, in the 40s? It wasn't the comic book, it was...
the
Radio.
The radio,
Up
absolutely.
and away.
And there's a man called Stetson Kennedy who in the 1940s decided that the most loathsome organisation in the United States of America was the Ku Klux Klan. And he infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan and he learned their secret language, their hierarchies, their codes, and their gossip in his particular
Man,
part
all
of the
the
world.
pictures you would have to show.
I know, it's not good.
It's my uncle in there.
Anyway, he decided that the most popular thing around was Superman on the radio. So he wrote to the producers and said, here's a plot line for you. Why don't you have Superman fight the Ku Klux Klan? Because he fought Mussolini, he's fought Hitler. And within 2 weeks of the 4-week episode in which Superman fights the Ku Klux Klan, the recruitment went to 0. So he was a crime fighter, Superman.
In real life,
In
as
real
well
life.
as in fiction. How
Yeah.
wonderful. I did not know any of that. I go home a better person.
Now, children have invented some pretty useful stuff themselves. Earmuffs were invented by children. The calculator, the trampoline, the state flag of Alaska itself. The great child author, Roald Dahl. What was his greatest invention? Yeah, go on. Oh, hello. Oh. Oh, my goodness.
Fixed it. I do know this.
Yes, go on, tell.
Because I've been many times to the Roald Dahl Museum on school trips.
In Great Missenden.
Yes, it's a beautiful place. It's a wonderful day out. I've often thought, though, for the bored father, maybe they could have a Roald Dahl-themed brothel next door with a kind of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory theme, you know. Willy Wonka, bring your own. But...
And for the grown-ups, chocolate in the Charlie Factory, where they could go. Free Charlie. But anyway...
and you find out about Roald Dahl's life when you're there, and he had one of his children, I think it was his son, was very ill. I think he caught an illness, or he had an accident.
Well, actually, he had an accident in New York, hit
and
by a car.
Roald Dahl was involved, I believe, not alone, but with other people, in inventing some kind of a valve or some sort of a device that the
Gonna have to
person
give the
needed in his
man
body.
lots and lots of points. Yep. It's called the Wade-Dahl-Till valve. His son Theo was in a car accident in New York and he hurt his head to the extent that he got hydrocephalus.
That's water on the brain, isn't it?
Water on the brain, exactly. And the cure was to put a valve in, but it was a very clunkily designed valve that often got jammed and stuck, which meant big surgical intervention. And Dahl thought this isn't good enough, so he went to his friends and they devised this valve. 3,000 children at least have probably had their life saved, and certainly their outcomes massively improved. Well, I'll ask you another question. The Oompa Loompas, what colour are they?
Their faces are orange, their hair is yellow. We don't know about their nether regions.
Did you say orange? No, I'm talking about the original Oompa Loompas, the Oompa Loompas of Roald Dahl's.
In the book itself? Aren't they from Africa?
Yes, you see, you've reclaimed yourself. His publishers, Knopf, made them orange because they felt black pygmies slaving away in a factory was a slightly kind of
And now they're all orange like Girls Aloud.
Now they look... exactly. Green hair, orange, white eyebrows.
I saw a Sherlock Holmes film once, and people kept getting murdered quite near a circus.
Oh.
And
Seen any
people
other
getting
films?
murdered, and they'd be in a room, and there'd only be a tiny little window or something. And about an hour in, Holmes turns to Watson and says, "I've got one word to say to you, Watson. Pygmies."
That is deathless.
There were some pygmies at the circus, and they were being sent out to do the bidding of an evil circus owner.
I love the idea that we can go back to a happier time when pygmies are the prime suspect for most crimes. So much easier to pick out in an identity parade, you know?
It's political correctness. It's political correctness gone mad.
I once saw a very fine Saturday night French television show, which didn't involve a midget as such, but it involved a small, tiny dwarf elephant that came out and danced and performed and capered around like nobody's business. You wouldn't believe it. And I was sitting watching this. I was in a hotel room and I was saying, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Where, A, where did they find such a tiny elephant? B, how do you teach a tiny elephant to perform like that? You know? Yeah. Turned out, at the end of that, he unzipped it, there was a dog inside. What one of the best acts I've seen in my entire life. And yet now, I tell you, it's such an obvious idea.
Yeah. Anyway, there we are. Now, from Oompa Loompas, politically incorrect little people, to badly behaved little pink extraterrestrials. Alan, could you press your browser and tell me what it's saying?
It's a clanger. Definitely a clanger.
It's a famous episode. It was an episode 3 of Series 1, which was called Chicken. See if you can work out what is being said. We've got a little clip.
They've got a little...
Because the performers generally have words in their head. There it is. What he's saying is, oh, sod it, the bloody thing's stuck again. You can hear it again. Let's hear it again. There it is. You know what? It is, yeah. So, the creator of...
I'm above it.
Yeah.
Oliver Postgate.
The Great, I think. You cannot say
Oh,
Oliver
the great
Postgate
Oliver...
without saying the
Nog
Great.
in the Nog.
Nog in the Nog, Ogleswood.
Did he do Bagpuss?
And the greatest of the great Bagpuss. But he and Peter Firmin, who were his partner, they used to produce these things in the barn, and they'd take a month to do each episode.
Oh, they're brilliant, aren't
They
they?
are absolutely wondrous.
Well, here's an interesting bit of clanger trivia for you.
Yeah.
I think the clangers appear on an episode of Doctor Who.
The man is right. The man is absolutely right. It was, in fact, their largest ever audience in 1972. They got 10 million viewers by appearing in an episode called The Sea Devils. But anyway, there's only one language even more suggestive than the clangers. What language do Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Men, speak?
Flobbelob.
Flobbedob? No. No. You see, the awful thing is, you probably thought it was Flobbedob because that's what we said a couple of years ago. We've saluted one great genius of children's television, the great Oliver Postgate. There is another, the great voice genius, Peter Hawkins. We unfortunately said that the Flobbedob language was called Flobbedob, and that it came from the sound of creator Hilda Brabham's younger brothers farting in the bath and saying, oh, Flobbedob, like that. It sounded like Flobbedob. And we got a very, if I may say so, terse, tart letter from Silas Hawkins, the son of Peter Hawkins himself, voice actor. The fart in the bath story was trotted out last year in an episode of Stephen Fry's Otherwise Admirable with QI. It, the story, first appeared some 20 years ago in the newspaper article, to which my father immediately wrote a rebuttal and which was obviously ferreted out by some BBC researcher, if you like. It may be quite interesting, but in this case, it just isn't true. So we apologise, Mr. Silas Hawkins. Their language is called Oddle-Poddle. Flobbelob actually means flower pot in Oddle-Poddle. I cannot believe I just said that. But with that descent into gibberish, I would like to take us now outside the headmaster's study where we get a damn good weekly thrashing of general ignorance. So fingers on buzzers, please. Who can hum the most listened to tune in the world?
From above Ed?
Yes.
Ding ding dang 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 dang.
Oh, dear! You've been doing so well.
The shame, the shame.
Diddly, diddly, diddly,
Is the right answer! Do you know who wrote it?
Someone in Finland.
No, Spanish, a Spanish composer, a genuine Spanish composer.
Diddly, 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 diddly. It's Robbie Williams. Robbie Williams with all those comedy glasses and beard.
His name was Francisco Tárrega. And it's his grand valse. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Here it is, the original. It doesn't end with the final note. Just go diddle-end, diddle-end,
You
diddle-end.
just think they've hung up.
And does a bloke in Spanish shout, Hola!
It is a third...
Estoy en tren.
Very good. Excellent. Well, that is the man. He died in 1909. But the billionth phone was made not long ago. I think it's something like 6.5 phones a second are produced by the Nokia company.
But a remarkable achievement, because it isn't actually that annoying, even though you've heard it so many times.
If you want to hear it on a phone, it sounds like this. Is that on the end? And the original again from Tárrega, which is like this.
He probably thought, if I put another note on there, they'll use this on a f***ing phone.
Anyway, Fern Cotton and Terry Wogan are, of course, the great heroes behind this evening of all evenings. So, does anyone know anything interesting about ferns?
Ferns what?
Ferns. If you know anything about ferns, anything, do tell me.
They make a cunny noise, like.
I beg your pardon?
Ferns make a cunny noise.
And speaking on the fern.
Oh, sorry. But cunny means the female pudenda. It means the... It does.
You know what?
They make a noise like a female
Never,
pudenda.
ever go to Newcastle.
It's an English word.
You'll
meaning...
go up there and it'll be, whoa! There's that great joke about the little soldier who's with General Custer, and they can hear the... And he says to the little Geordie soldier, listen, they've got war drums. And the Geordie soldier goes, the thieving bastards.
No, I do confess myself defeated there. Is it like a naval wardroom? Is that what they're saying, wardrooms? Well, it's where the naval officers gather for their pink gins. It's called the wardroom.
Oh, Patsy, make him stop.
They've got wardrooms, the thieving bastards. What? They've got...
In Newcastle, they say instead of hour, they say war.
Well, they must go to school. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. Not good enough. Anyway, ferns. Tell me about ferns.
Ferns what?
Tell me about fern.
The poisonous.
You're absolutely right, they are.
Some ferns are carcinogenic.
You're absolutely right again.
Aren't ferns also, apart from moss, I believe, the oldest plant on the planet?
Yeah, you're right. They're 3 times older than dinosaurs, older than any land animal.
And they seed by...
That's right, they're
flicking
cast
out. They go
out. Yeah.
boom, like that.
Yes.
Boom, shaka, boom,
Yeah.
shaka,
No,
boom.
they... Wah!
They fling their seed
You know
across
what?
the room.
I was doing that when I was about 14.
And so to the other hero of the evening, of course, I'd like to know, where does Terry Wogan come from?
They're pygmies, aren't they, the Wogan family? Is there not
Which
a
country?
Ireland.
Oh, thank you for saying that. No, they're the Welsh. They're the Googans originally.
The land of my fathers.
That's right. He comes from the land of the valleys, where everything the Davises come from. Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
see.
Oh, yes.
Didn't sound like it.
No, he doesn't, because he himself grew up in Ireland, and his family came from Wales originally, and there was a Sir John Wogan who left in 1295 for Ireland, and all Wogans in Ireland are said to descend from this Welsh Ireland. But there's one thing he's done, this Wogan, which is a unique sporting achievement.
But our Wogan. Oh, I know what this is.
Yeah, go on.
The longest recorded putt on television.
Absolutely right, longer than any professional golfer. 33-yard putt at Glen Eagles. I've seen it. It's an amazing... Rich.
Ever since the clangers, I've been lost. Last picture I recognized was the KKK, and that's pretty sad.
Anyway, finally, what percentage of money donated to children in need actually goes to cover administration costs? What percentage?
I'm above Ed.
Yes.
90%.
It would be disappointing if that were true. It is, I'm happy to say, less than that.
None at all.
You're right, nada, not 1%.
There's no administration at all. It's a shambles.
Oh, my goodness me. The first Children in Need telethon, what year would you guess it was?
1979.
Oh, you're only 1 year out.
1978.
Oh, wrong way. It's 1980. And how much did it raise?
£20.
It was about 1 million. Last year's appeal, 17,235,256
Well, that's not very good in terms of the rate of inflation, is it?
Are you urging the public to do better?
They've probably got other things to spend their money on.
No, that's not how it works. All cynicism aside, it is a splendid thing that Children in Need exists and does so well and has made so much money, and it's all thanks to people like you. Thank them all very much. Speaking of which, I have some marking to do, and my goodness me, as I'm in a charitable mood, I shall give the scores in millions. And we have a clear winner with 3 million points. Our first-timer, Jonathan Ross, ladies and gentlemen. Because in second place, ladies and gentlemen, with 2 million points, Rich Hall. With 1 million points in third place, Phil Jubitus. And I'm afraid in bottom place. Bottom place. With an extraordinary minus 29 million. It's Alan Davis. My thanks, of course, to Rich, Jonathan, Phil and Alan. I leave you with the wise advice about your little ones, and it comes from Robert Orban. Never raise your hand to your children. It leaves your midsection unprotected.
The next round of QI is on BBC4 now, but if you haven't got BBC4 yet, find out how you can by calling 08700 10 10 10. QI will, of course, be back here on BBC Two next Friday at 10. BBC One, in the meantime, continues its big night of Children in Need. So far, they've raised over £7 million, so tune in and find out how you can make a difference.